There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday, live 5 and Evo P Network, Rumble, X, YouTube. Check us out, subscribe, type in IE Newswire on those X, YouTube, all those. We'll try to get some of this other technical stuff straightened out. On that, of course, we'll join the Mighty Met KMET 1490 AM at the bottom of the hour. Lots of stuff coming. Of course, the fraud investigations are going all over the place. Rob Bonner still trying to block Sheriff Chad's investigation into the voter fraud. Even James O'Keefe's new tape has come out, and it even implicates more voter fraud around Riverside, California, and more with that. Vagrants living in the sewer, the Moreno Valley, Riverside area issue with the donkeys being killed, the debate getting canceled, as was our lead story of the day as you saw it. USC canceled the debate that was scheduled for tonight, right over here about now at 5 o'clock. Supposed to be on NBC4. They're saying the other candidates that were excluded were all darker on the shade of brown in the skin tone, and they're shouting racism. So USC and NBC4 canceled the debate. It was a little bit shaky what was going on, but it's politics. Here's the KCRA3 report.
Last night, USC canceled a gubernatorial debate that was supposed to happen tonight. That happened after complaints that candidates of color were excluded. USC and TV station KABC were co-hosting the event, but could not agree on expanding the field of candidates. Several Democratic lawmakers had called on candidates to boycott the debate. Here is the look of the candidates who were invited to participate. They were chosen by a controversial...
So let's deal with this. What do you mean candidates of color were not? If you're not a candidate of color, then you are a ghost. You wouldn't see these faces. Let's knock off the idiotic, stupid racism, ethnicities crap. We're human frickin' beings. Now, they were trying to shove Matt Mahan in there of that, the tech bros, because they got a lot of money. Well, it's politics. And if they want to shut them out and broadcast it, hey, that's their prerogative. They want to succumb to the pressure of being tutti frutti. We're candidates of color and racism and all this. Stuff it up your ass. This stuff has got to stop. Now, there were shenanigans pulled. Yeah. Why don't you call it out? The ones, Baccaria, Tony Thurman, Betty Yee, Antonio Villaraigosa, Tony LaVar. You benefited from this crap that you're getting now, and now you're screaming. Why don't you call the truth out? That you guys have been just as complicit in all the BS, the spending, and everything that's run California into the frickin' ground. More from the KRC3 report.
Data-driven method on viability. It was developed by a USC political science professor. Turned out to be Congressman Eric Swalwell, former Congresswoman Katie Porter, billionaire climate activist Tom Steyer, and San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan. And he, by the way, just entered the race and is polling in the single digits. Plus, the top two Republicans, ex-Fox News host Steve Hilton and former Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco. Left out, however, were former Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra, former Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, Superintendent of Public Instruction Tony Thurman, and former state...
Four freaking political losers. Not that the other four of the Icky Eight aren't political losers either. They've been down in the polls. I mean, I say put him in there. Tom Steyer says he's going to have another town hall later on. We'll see if they do that. We'll cover some clips from that tomorrow. But this idiocracy that we've been going through. Oh, they're excluding this for color. No. They're excluding because they're afraid They are afraid Steve and Chad are going to win this deal in June. We have some later polling numbers coming out. Here's the latest released by the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party did this poll, commissioned this poll with their own pollster, and have Steve Hilton at 16%, Chad Bianco 14%, Katie Porter, Steyer, and Swalwell at 10%, Villar, Baccaria, and Mahon at 3%, Betty at 2%, Thurman at 1%. That's the Democratic Party internal poll. The Roy plan is working. I couldn't have designed this any better the way it's working out. It's time for you guys and gals in the center-right freedom and liberty types to jump on the bandwagon. Let's get this done. Let's split the vote. Let's top 2 in June to win. If it's Steve and Chad coming out and we pull this Hail Mary pass off, which is getting likelier as the ball's heading downfield, as the quarterback has thrown it, it's tipped in the air, and it looks like our receiver may score it for a touchdown in the win. The ball's in the air, popped up in the end zone, and it's heading to our guys. We better seize the opportunity and grab it. This is a once-in-a-lifetime shot. Again, the cards on the deck chairs couldn't have lined up any better. We'll get into this and much, much more in today's show. Get into the details of the fraud and BS Rob Bonta throwing a hissy fit at Chad doing the investigation on the voter fraud. James O'Keefe's new tape even implicates Riverside again in this voter fraud menagerie we've been going through. It's going to be a fun hour. Stay tuned. Yes, it is. All of the, let's say, machinations that have been going on, and, you know, you win some and you lose some in the political game. We look like we're poised. We have victory in our grasp in California. Let's not do something stupid and let the rats back in. We got them down. It's time to stomp on their throat. Wipe them out politically. They're handing us this. Why do you think BS Rob Bonta is making another emergency charge? Stop Chad Bianco's investigation into the voter fraud. Here's Sheriff Chad from last night.
Hello, California. Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco and your next governor. Well. The political corruption in California just gets bigger and bigger. Our embarrassment to law enforcement, Attorney General Rob Bonta, just filed an emergency writ with the Court of Appeals to stop ballots from being counted in Riverside County. For those not aware, we are conducting an investigation into an alleged and potential 45,000 extra votes counted than the number of ballots cast in the November 2025 special election. So we are all clear. This isn't about counting yes and no votes. This is simply counting the total ballots and comparing that total with the number of votes reported by the Dominion machines. Plain and simple. Common sense. Not only did a Superior Court judge approve a warrant to obtain the ballots, but also issued a separate order to count them. Why in the world would Rob Bonta want that count stopped unless he was afraid of what that count would uncover? We have an extremely politically biased appeals court, so this is going to be interesting. What's it going to be? Let law enforcement count the ballots as part of a lawful investigation, or halt the investigation and sweep it under the rug? All California voters should be demanding transparency, not legal maneuvers and cover-ups. Stay tuned.
Yes, well, stay tuned. Chad did roll, and he's right. You know, we have a very suspect at best appellate court system. We'll see if they pull it off or it gets dragged down, but the counting goes on. As far as I know, I hope the counting is still going on while BS Rob Bona's pulling his BS. Clarissa Cervantes, the drunk, Riverside City Councilwoman, is trying to claim under some statute that, oh, Chad doesn't have any right to count the ballots. This is what they're frickin' afraid of. Clarissa, you're afraid, like Rob Bona and all you other kook, destroyer of California and Riverside and the Inland Empire and everything else. You're afraid you're on your way out, or you're losing your grip on power. See, she says, oh, California election law, well, the judge didn't agree with you, Missy. It's getting more and more beyond ridiculous. We'll see what the courts have to say. Little Stevie Hernandez, Coachella Mayor, Chief of Staff of Victor Manuel Perez, 4th District Supervisor, has pled guilty to a felony. Little Stevie Hernandez pleads guilty to a conflict of interest charge. He was arrested and indicted about 6 months ago. We'll catch into some of the reports on that a little bit later, but we had to throw in little Stevie Hernandez. Guilty of felonies. Victor, Stevie, why don't you come in and call me a racist like you really want to do, but you won't have enough guts to do it? Or say I was wrong about that. Or when I was briefing the audience at the Riverside County Board of Supervisors, and Victor Manuel Perez, when he was chair, so rudely interrupted and thought he was going to pin me down when I was mentioning the corruption that surrounded not only Victor, but little Stevie Hernandez and many others. Judgment Day is a-comin'. Well, it came today for little Stevie Hernandez. James O'Keefe had his new tape out on voter fraud in Southern California. Here we go, hopefully.
Mass in-person election fraud crimes caught on camera. The recordings you're about to see show homeless people are paid by petitioners to force and forge other voters' signatures to sign ballot petitions in Los Angeles, not once, not a dozen times, but thousands and thousands of times. Thousands of times. And we've caught them all on video. It's a federal felony, state felony, every crime you could possibly imagine. And the topic here is explosive. And what you're about to see, I don't think has ever been captured before. So this show is supported by sponsors that'll help Americans take back control where it counts, Impact Health Sharing, American Independent.
I'm Joseph Albright. Okay.
This is all you writing. The first name?
Joseph Albright. The street. What is the street?
Here is the list of registered voter names that the petition fraudster is holding in.
Notice the name. Joseph Albright in Riverside, California. That's the name the signature gatherer is telling the person to write down of the address of Joseph Albright in Riverside. In Riverside. And Clarissa Cervantes is up there growing, oh, Chad's investigating this stuff because oh, he's being mean. No, he's trying to get to the bottom of the fraud and corruption that runs from voting to the way you spend billions of dollars to the homeless deal you were trying to put down there for the vagrants that was going to rip us off for $20 million.
In that video, from this list of voters, the petitioner circles Joseph Albright's first name, last name, and address. To protect the victim's privacy, we are omitting street addresses from this report. Through other reporting, we were able to corroborate the
Riverside. Oh, that was the cleanest elections. We don't know nothing. Everything's purer than the wind-driven snow. We wouldn't. There are absolutely no illegalies. Little Stevie Hernandez, Coachella mayor. Guilty of a felony, chief of staff of Victor Manuel Perez, 4th District Supervisor of Riverside County. And let's check the connections between the Cervantes and the Perezes. Wasn't Daddy a big wig when serving for Victor when he was in the Assembly of the State of California, Clarissa? Here's more from this giant fraud that's been heaped upon us.
You don't remember, but it wasn't your name. Was it your address?
They're taking names and numbers from last time they had some people that really actually signed it, and they're keeping them on file for themselves. So when the next time it comes time to do this, they have their names to put on there again. You know, yeah, I don't like these people at all. So I mean, I don't want to. As long as I'm not getting shot over this, you know, I mean, I can tell you what we're doing. You know?
But do you know that that's illegal?
Yes, I know, sure.
Yeah. And why do you sign anyway?
Because they keep me money, I'm broke.
Oh, because they give you money and you're broke, yeah.
This corroborates the statement from fraudster Brenda Brown, who committed a federal felony when she gave cash in exchange for registering people to vote, which emphasized that they were taking advantage of homeless people's desperation and vulnerability.
And really, I don't need you, you need me. I don't need you.
This video is brought to you by Citizen Journalism Foundation.
They take advantage of those who are in desperate straits. And they continue to stomp all over them to make themselves look good. More follow-up on the Sun deal. Here we go.
How much they giving? Oh, full Sun.
So then he hands cash to the homeless person to vote in the name of Paul Sun with this address. And it's a California petition. Wow. And we visited Paul Sun in LA, and here is what he had to say about his own vote being disenfranchised. Hello. Yeah, hey there. We're doing a story about identity theft, and your name was used someone used your name and voted in your name. We just want to talk to you for a moment. And it's 30-second clip, just 30 seconds. You can see it for yourself. So then he hands cash to the homeless person to vote in the name of Paul Sun with this address. And it's a California petition, and that's I'm assuming that you didn't sign that?
No.
Okay.
Do you know what petition it's for?
Yeah, what petition?
They don't even tell the homeless people most of the time what the petition is.
What was that one specifically?
We might be able to...
Uber Technologies. It was about like liability for Uber cars and
gives them more protection.
Gives Uber more protection.
You guys are trying to figure out how they got our information?
They're given those names from the website.
Or they have a database of some kind.
So basically my name has been...
Correct.
I definitely want to stay informed. We definitely want to follow through on this and see where they're getting this information, how they're getting this information.
They're getting the information from the Registrar of Voters or through a company like Paul Mitchell's Political Data Inc., or he's a principal of. You're on the voter registration. If you're registered to vote, it's public record. Where it would get flaky is if they're actually got the signatures of those people and they're having them sign like their signature. Or if they're not, it's if they're not their signature, were these things qualified, like for the Uber ballot? Paul Mitchell's even said this. This thing is corrupt as frickin' hell. And Mr. Albright from Riverside, I'm sure, would be almost positive he did not sign that petition. Because we've got the lady that they're paying to sign his name. Here's some from Cam Higby's report that we didn't get to yesterday.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. If you're not subscribed already, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification. I just got off of Skid Row where we did a pretty good sized food drive. 20 pizza pies we handed out to the homeless people on Skid Row. The reason we did that is because James O'Keefe, myself, Savannah Hernandez, Jonathan Cho, and Anthony Rubin, independent journalists, have been investigating a massive election fraud ring on Skid Row where homeless drug addicts are being manipulated and used into committing election fraud. So I managed to get 2 members of that election fraud ring to blow the whistle and do an anonymous exclusive interview with me. That video is going to come to this channel very shortly next week, so hit that bell notification. So the reason I did the food drive is because the homeless people were being paid to commit election fraud, and the whistleblowers who were helping conduct this election fraud were concerned that now these homeless people, because they're not making money off of election fraud, won't be able to eat. So I said, you know what, you guys blow the...
Like the young lady said, I don't need you, you need me, as they're paying them $1 or $2 or a cigarette or whatever they're giving them. This is what Clarissa Cervantes, Rob Bonta, Victor Manuel Perez, the felon, little Stevie Hernandez are protecting. Jose Medina's out there just, mean Sheriff Chad. Victor Manuel a month ago, well, why does this keep coming up? Why does that mean Greg Langworthy keep bringing and Team Temecula keep bringing this stuff up? Yeah, just... Greg Langworthy and Jim Niederrecker look like the meanest people, just devious most people you could ever see. Right, Victor. They're just making this stuff up. Bunch of crazed white hillbillies. I get it, you want to come after me, and I love it. Bring it on. I wish you had enough balls to sit right here and do it. You only want to do it where you can control the mic, Victor. Or Chuck. Or Karen, or X, or Jose. Or any of you else. But you know what? We got a big army now coming out. Exposing you guys all across the board. And it's going to be a fun ride.
Got like no fingernails.
This is from the Cam Higby pizza drive. Hopefully we will have he will release the tape of the whistleblowers very soon.
We got one more box.
You wonder why we have the problems, the fraud, again. I was thinking, take any budget, sewer cleaning commission in whatever town, district of criminals, state of California, county, city, Moval, San Bernardino. My estimates were high. I said a third of the money spent is fraudulent. Going to payoffs, I'm going to say now, I was probably low. I'm going to say it's 50% plus. 50% of any government budget is outright fraud, deceit, political payoffs to keep us in power. Or the establishment in power, I guess I should say. This is what we're up against. More from the Anthony video that was caught on Muckraker.
Hey, don't touch his camera. Do not touch his camera. How many,
as we say,
of the signatures that you guys gather are paid for with cigarettes? So where are you going?
Please stop that. Please stop it.
Hey, don't touch his camera. Do not touch his camera. Hey, do not touch his camera. So I just want to know, man, what's the situation? How many of the signatures that you guys gather are paid for with cigarettes? Can you tell me that? And don't touch his camera again, please. We want to know. We want to know how many are paid for with cigarettes. He said, oh, you could give a cigarette. The other lady said you could give food. I asked if I can give maybe money sometimes, and they said it's on you. So where are you going, man? Frank is your name? We want to know. So you've been in this country.
That's a guy from Switzerland and the Uganda broad. We want to know. Remember the one guy that was on, said, no, you can't even give, it doesn't matter if it's 110 degrees, you can't even give somebody a bottle of water. It would be illegal to give somebody a bottle of water to sign of that. Anything of value. Even Paul Mitchell said, hey, this stuff has been going on for years, if not decades. Yet they've been screaming, protect democracy and all that. Stuff it up your ass. I don't want, why don't you, I would have some respect for me saying, we crooked you for decades. How did you like it? At least they were honest. We can't even get that. No, then once they're caught, or like Clarissa or Bonner, it's those investigators. Those hillbillies, all drunked up like me, Clarissa, all the time. Oh, we're going to do that. And I don't want to hear the crocodile tears. I'm going through rehab. That's what you told the frickin' judge a month before you got popped for a DUI as a councilman saying you were never going to do it again. Why should we trust any word you say, Clarissa? You didn't even have guts enough to resign, which you should have done. Should have said, I'm not qualified to hold an elected position of the public trust because I have broken it. I lied to the court, claiming if you expunge my record, I will never do this again. And prove me wrong. I will give you every opportunity to dispute anything I have said. Please come in and do that. Face to face. Don't hide behind this or post stuff on that or where you can control it. Sit beside me, Clarissa. This is transparency, Clarissa. Transparency is sitting here answering the questions. You're not running like the Swiss guy on Urban Signers or making accusations of Chad is this or whatever. It's beyond, as we say, ridiculous. At times, some of the absolute nonsense that we go through or have to endure. But you got to get in the ball game. If you don't try, they will run you over even harder as a steamroller. And that would not, as they say, be very pretty, in a much to say the least. Maybe one day we'll get this stuff straightened out. I sure as heck hope so. Because again, we don't want to squander this golden opportunity to revive the once golden state. We need to get this job done, top 2 in June, to win. Then we got a chance to really reform
30 seconds.
the rest of our politics here in California. Sean said we'll be joining the Mighty Met KMET here in a few seconds. Pick up some of these stories and more that have been going on in this wonderful, terrific Tuesday. Going on where the news, as every day goes, faster.
Here we go, 10 seconds.
PatriotSwitch.com.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday live at 5:30 in the Mighty Met 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire in the 4-inch day of Ben. Join our vast video audience on the UFP Network, Rumble, X, YouTube. Check us out, subscribe, type in IE Newswire, Roy Bleckert. You'll see my nice smiling, shining face. They canceled the USC, what was it, ABC or whatever, sponsored debate. The 4 darker on the brown skin tone said, oh, claimed racism and USC buckled. Tom Steyer said he was going to invite all the people in, have a town hall today. We'll see if that proliferates. This was supposed to be going on now. Obviously, it got canceled. So we'll see if Steyer pulls everybody in. The hypocrisy that goes on in that, what they're really scared of. Extremely scared of is the Roy plan is working. We did it at the beginning, but we'll do it now just for those joining the Mighty Met KMET. This is a Democratic-led poll commissioned by the Democratic Party of California. And it shows Steve Hilton at 16, Sheriff Chad Bianco at 14, Fat Broad Porter at 10, Stupid Steyer at 10, the Spy Swalwell at 10, Tony Villar, Baccaria Mahan at 3, Betty Yee at 2, and the complete ding-dong, Superintendent of Public Instruction, Tony Thurman at 1%. We got a chance to kick some ass, get the top 2 in June, get Steve and Chad in there. Not only will it be fun to watch the heads explode, not only in California but nationally, we'll have a chance to straighten everything out. You've heard it. That'll even affect the down ballot races. That's what they're panicked about. That's why Clarissa Cervantes is crying. Crying. Oh, that mean Chad's looking at the ballots. We ran the James O'Keefe report of that. Mr. Albright from Riverside. Oh, he's signing on the petitions with the voter fraud petition gathering thing. And they got him on tape with telling the lady, oh, yeah, sign his name. I'm almost as sure as I've ever been about anything. I don't see how James was able to sign that when the other person is. The fraud is just coming out daily. We brought you little Stevie Hernandez, Coachella Mayor, Chief of Staff for Victor Manuel Perez, 4th District Supervisor, Riverside County. He is now a felon. He pled guilty today of a 1-count felony in the corruption case that he was arrested on about 6 months ago. He hasn't resigned. The Coachella, if he doesn't resign, the Coachella City Council is going to have to throw him off because you cannot serve anywhere in public office for anything if you're a convicted felon. Or plead guilty to it, or whatever legal term you want to use. This is from the Yukon Report, Cindy Yukon's blog. Hernandez pled guilty to violating Government Code Section 1090, conflict of interest law prohibiting public officials from participating in government contracts which they have a financial interest. It was entered today or yesterday or something. He's getting 200 hours of community service. As a result of this conviction, Hernandez is permanently disqualified from serving any public office. Again, either he resigns. He should have submitted his letter of resignation with this, but he's not being defiant. The prosecution was handled by Riverside County Deputy District Attorney Natasha Sorantz. Until now, Hernandez has been on paid administrative leave in Riverside County, where he serves as Chief of Staff to Victor Manuel Perez. Listeners of this show will know that. Of course, Victor had no statement. Oh, no balls, Victor. Why don't you come out and say what the hell was going on? Or why don't you, you're up there you're crying crocodile tears or trying to get me off when I was at the Board of Supervisors mentioning little Stevie, although that backfired on you. We can roll the videotape if you like. And please come in and we'll have a discussion about it. And little Stevie, and your office, Vic. Quoting from the Cindy Yukon article, Kansas City Council member Steve Sanchez, who is challenging Perez in the June primary, had plenty to say about Hernandez's guilty plea. The great La Quinta Council member Steve Sanchez. Public service carries a simple but unbreakable obligation to exercise sound judgment on the behalf of people who fund and trust our government, Sanchez wrote in an email. The situation involving Coachella Mayor Little Stevie Hernandez has reached legal resolution with a felony conflict of interest conviction and the inability to hold public office. The matter is no longer uncertain. It is clear. At an earlier stage, one could argue that allowing due process to play out was the appropriation, but today that question has been answered. What remains is responsibility to act. Mr. Hernandez, little Stevie, has served as Chief of Staff of one of the most senior and influential positions in the Supervisor Perez's office. This is not a ceremonial role. It is a position that helps guide policy, budgets, critical decisions that affect hundreds of thousands of residents across Riverside County. That level of responsibility requires the highest standard of judgment, credibility, and trust, and requires the taxpayer dollars be used with discipline and purpose. When a position of that magnitude is no longer being fulfilled and when the underlying circumstances are no longer in question, it is fair for the public to expect alignment between reality and responsibility. This is not about revisiting the past, it's about responding appropriately to the present. I'm calling on Supervisor Manny Perez to take the next step forward to ensure that the operation of the office reflects standards and public expects safeguards responsible to use taxpayers' funds, and to reaffirm that leadership's decisions are guided by accountability and trust. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, waste no more time arguing what is good, what a good man should be won. The path forward is clear, and the public is watching. That action should be along, well, Stevie Hernandez is either going to resign or getting thrown out of his office. Victor Manuel Perez should resign his office as 4th District Supervisor of Riverside County. Hiring little Stevie. And when the whole Brian Nastandy come up, and I believe it was Cindy Yukin that asked little Stevie, well, was Victor there when you discovered Brian Nastandy was dead in his home of a drug overdose, which we came to find out? He didn't say no. He said, go ask Manny. Now we have this. Yes, the public is watching, Victor. You should have integrity. You should have the public interest at heart and resign. We will definitely be following this case as it moves forward. Speaking of the vagrants who are getting abused in the political process and used as stepping stones for the political elite, the reason they probably, like the one guy says, I need the money, is they're living in sewers. Here's the Good Day, Good Night LA report.
And disturbing discovery in South Los Angeles. Some homeless now living underground inside the city's sewer system just to survive. Fox 11's Matthew Seudorf joining us live after witnessing these conditions firsthand. Matthew.
Yeah, Christine, this is bad, and the area isn't safe either. We actually had to drive a few miles away just for safety reasons for this live shot. But the things we saw, we won't forget. An up-close, exclusive look underground at living conditions too extreme for words. It's hard to imagine someone living in there. Trash, human waste, and an overpowering stench. I gotta get back. Just moments earlier, we watched someone climb out of that storm drain using the sewer as shelter. Water and food? Her answers hard to understand.
Hard to understand? This is a sad situation. You're living in the sewer all the time. Of course, it's going to affect your vision, your health, your speaking. No telling what else is going on with the young lady.
But the area, 88th and South Grand, overwhelmed with RVs, tents, and trash.
Oh, isn't that lovely? And they will exploit those in this condition for their own political gain. I don't know what kind of evil it takes but possesses people to treat their fellow human being like this.
Hello, yes. Juan Nala with nonprofit Clean LA with me was picking up garbage here Monday.
We got a lady living down there.
When he saw not one, but two people emerge from the storm drain.
I can't explain that. You know, a person living like a rat, worse than a rat.
I can explain it. Our politicos are profiting. Companies are profiting. Evil people are profiting off of this. From our money that they're pointing a gun at us and taking it out of our pocket. That's how this is happening.
Come on.
Hello? And just 2 weeks ago, it happened again.
Somebody's living in there.
Another.
Did you ever think? Did you ever think? In the once golden state, we would have a man yelling down a sewer, "Hello, who's down there?" Sands are not hiding from the cops after they robbed a bank or something. They're living in there. Like you said, living like a rat.
Other street in South LA, another person living underground.
It's a human. It's a human being. Why are we accepting this?
Because we have voted for it, sir. I don't particularly know if he has. We collectively have set up this system.
Why? All the officials, they have to do something. They have to fix this problem.
It pisses me off.
Does it piss you off enough, young lady, to start voting for people who are not going to allow this to happen as our public policy, like the gentleman before? Not shouting racism and Roy's an evil white hillbilly and all this other crap and I hate Donald Trump. Are you pissed off enough, young lady, to change your ways? And
that's why I was like, what y'all doing? Finna tell them to clean it up?
Neighbors angry say they've reported the problems but feel ignored.
Like, we need y'all help. We need that money. The public here need that.
A shocking snapshot of survival at its lowest point.
This person doesn't deserve to live like this. Not even the neighbors.
So I just got a statement from the mayor's office about 5 minutes ago saying that this is tragic and unacceptable, and then they're going to be out there tomorrow offering resources and help and trying to clean up this.
Buffoon Bass, Gay Boy Gavin. Oh, the homeless go down. We're fixing it. We spent $100 million, made it worse, but we'll tell you it's all better. Oh, there's nobody living down in the sewer. Fake news. Look at that. There's a white boy. He's reporting this. It can't be right. He's probably a Trump supporter. Well, he's on Fox. Some of this stuff is just absolutely unbelievable. The whole donkey issue has just been a sad state of affairs. If we were allowed back 40 years ago when we tried to take care of this, and we got shouted down, got the eco-freaks out there and the tutti-fruities in the government saying, oh, you know, there's Roy and his merry band of mean white hillbillies, or now we got this. Now the problem's 9,437 times worse. It breaks my heart, and you'll probably see it since we didn't get a big rain. You're going to see a lot of these donkeys when you're driving by the road, starving to death, can't get enough water. On top of that, they are dangerous animals. They destroy property. And I get people, you know... But they had a meeting last night down in Riverside, down by Hunter Park. Here's the Fox 11 report.
In Riverside County, with 21 boroughs targeted since last year. Fox 11's Laura Diaz reports outraged residents packed a meeting tonight demanding justice for the slain animals.
The meeting lasted 2 hours, and everyone was adamant that no matter what happened, all they cared about was helping the donkeys.
All they cared about, 2 hours, packed meeting. All they cared about was helping the donkeys while human beings are living in the sewer. Now I will invite people in to show me or try to explain to me why this is not totally screwed up. And I love animals, like them, all that. They're not human beings. They are lower on the food chain. Not that they shouldn't be respected and all that, and I get all that, but when you see the public outrage or the concern is higher for donkeys than human beings, and I invite anybody to come in and prove me wrong. Let's look at this. How come we don't clean up or do this or direct resources or have people living in a sewer? Yet we get the big crocodile tears. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be concerned about or come up with a solution to this. But the solution is just not letting donkeys run free range across an area they were not native to.
By the type of attacks and wounds they see on the donkeys, they can tell what it was, what happened to the donkey. And unfortunately, it seems like it's almost kind of premeditated. We'll continue to work day and night for them. They're voiceless, so we're their voice.
It's not necessarily animal cruelty. We don't know that somebody is intentionally injuring the donkeys. These could be stray feral dogs. So I don't know necessarily that it's an act of animal cruelty. It's horrific. This church in Riverside was the site where 200 outraged citizens gathered to demand that the violence against the donkeys be stopped. Now, a panel of elected officials, law enforcement, and medical experts sat at the front of the room. Participants told me last year 21 donkeys were attacked. They included arrow attacks and a beheading and other forms of violence.
If it was an animal, you would expect to see raggedy edges, but these are very...
And I'm not saying, it's obvious feral dogs are not shooting arrows. I get that. But again, nobody wants to come up with a solution for this problem. We want to point fingers or that. But what boggles my mind, people are more concerned or seem to show more concern about this than residents living in the sewer or having their communities turned into an S-hole. And I'll take the flat. And again, come on in and have a debate discussion about it. And not that something should be done, but there should be a solution. There's only so many, even if they're not native and they're here, there's only so many of them that can survive in the lands in and around here. If they're not, they're going to be destroying others' property. We had the lady that stopped to do the donkey that got run over on Redlands Boulevard here in Moreno Valley. So it's an issue that needs to be taken care of or come to a solution that works for everyone, including the donkeys. But if we continue to just let them run wild throughout the community, I can guarantee you that is not a solution. You're going to see more of this. Like I said, knock the emotion out of it. Let's talk about what it's going to take. To get this problem under control. we have just eons of very, very, very hard concerns that we need to deal with. Just like this. California drivers. Say, yes, in my backyard for offshore oil. Send the California Post. California will finally begin pumping of offshore oil again over near Santa Barbara, saving our state's economy from catastrophe. Several oil companies have warned now that new regulations restricting fossil fuel production could mean the loss of California's few refineries. This would have sent gas prices skyrocketing even higher and would have jeopardized dual supplies in the state. If we're going to save, the 7 or whatever refineries we got left, thank goodness Trump has got the oil flowing from Santa Barbara and Central California. Or we would be up to $8 or $9 or $10 a gallon already for gas and diesel. And again, like we said, this stuff is A1 critical. We have a chance to repair the foobar that we have inflicted on ourselves in California. From donkeys to people sleeping in the sewer to no oil pumping to all the emotional pleas, this, you can't do that, it's going to hurt this and that. Everything. You have a negative impact on this earth. So let's get to the point where we're putting the interests of everyone first. Do not let the perfect kill the greater good, because it will do it every time, because there is no perfection on this earth. I didn't design it, but that's the reality of the situation. It's been a fun Tuesday. I'm sure Hump Day Wednesday will bring us lots more exciting news to cover. It always seems to. I mean, we never seem to catch a break, but hey, that's the cards we're dealt. We got to play the hand. See if it will play. There we go. That'll do it for today. As we usually say at this time, mandatory, you're back here 23 hours wide. You're the best darn show in the whole wide world. Till then, see ya.
The proceeding was a paid.
All right, Roy, take it easy.
Okay.
You going to a meeting tonight?
No, there's nothing tonight.
Oh, damn.
They're scared. They canceled everything because they thought they knew I would show up.
Yeah, well. All right, take it easy.
You got it. We'll see you Friday. Ah.